guys, it's me, Silly Boy, and I just got done watching one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. Spider-Man Lotus is a fan-made Spider-Man movie that released August 11, 2023, aka hopefully yesterday if I can get this video out fast enough. It is also the movie that I said was boring, obviously, and dear God! I'm gonna make this short because, as I said about the whole movie itself, the story is also kind of just eh. But basically, the whole movie is about Peter Parker, Spider-Man, grieving the death of his girlfriend Gwen Stacy after he failed to save her in a fight against, Green Goblin. This pretty normal Spider-Man stuff. Honestly, most comics have that happen. Movies and stuff. I guess I won't spoil nothing, even though, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you've at least seen most of the Spider-Man movies, most likely, but in those movies, the grieving is normally very short, or is near the end of the movie, so there's not much time, but this is entirely focused on it. And then also there's another subplot about how, Harry Osborn, aka son of Norman Osborn, aka Green Goblin, is grieving the loss of his father after he was killed by Spider-Man, but obviously he doesn't know that, otherwise we'd have a Spider-Man 3 crap going on or whatever. My problem with the movie itself is that it fails to make the drama really interesting, it's not like I'm not a fan of drama. I like drama movies, especially some highlights are like Shawshank, Forrest Gump, and even The Lion King, really. But in this movie, though, neither plots are really, likable, and they don't really hook me. There's nothing for me to grasp onto that I really, it's like, oh, it's sad that they're dead. I feel bad for him and whatever, but, it's just like a combination of dialogue and stuff that kind of made the movie feel like more of a trudge to get through and less of an emotional experience with the characters. But before we get into the bad part, let's start off with Alright, I know I said this was going to be the good section, but first I need to ask you a little bit of a question. So you know how Spider-Man's, superhero type thing, beat up the bad guys and stuff. I want you to guess how many action scenes are in this Spider-Man movie. 2. There are 2. 2. In the Spider-Man movie. 2 action scenes. And one of those is in a freaking flashback. But yeah, sorry. This is supposed to be the positive part of the video. Let me get back to that. While there may only be 2 action scenes, they're both really good. I wouldn't say they're the most incredible, because this movie did have, a pretty small budget. But for what they're worth, they are both entertaining. While I trash talked the story, there was one, while kinda cliche, scene that I thought was pretty good, and was the only scene that really made me super sympathize with, Peter's pain. It's nothing super new or super creative or nothing, but it's a bunch of videos of him, Harry, MJ, and Gwen just all goofing around, and and there's a bunch of them just doing stuff, being happy. You get to see his reaction, which is a little bit sad, but that's literally about it for the good part of the movie. So let's head over to this movie is so boring. I've already said it once, twice, three. I've lost track how many times I've called this movie boring. That's because I lost track of how many times I literally wanted to turn the movie off while watching it. It's so... just gave me a disease. That's how bad it is. For the most of it, it's either just a couple of characters standing around awkwardly with the most mid-writing ever, and the other half of the time, we are literally in a monochromatic flashback where nothing interesting happens. The writing, like I said, is kind of mid to garbage at some points. Okay, so you know what? Here's an example. Pretty early on in the movie, right after Gwen and Norman's death, Harry and Peter get into a fight. And the whole fight is, Peter's like, oh, you didn't show up at Gwen's funeral, how could you? And then Harry's like, well, I mean, kind of understandable. He's like, hey, my dad just died, I've been grieving him. And it's like, why can't you? Number one, I mean, it's kind of like, you grieve both, but you know, I guess I kind of get it. Then he brings up the whole thing about how earlier in the movie, right before she died, he gave Peter an engagement ring, and he chickened out, and so he brings that up like it's supposed to like hurt Peter's feelings, like, you should have proposed, which is super crappy of him. It's like being hypocritical, so it's kind of like, I don't know if that was like intentional, which it could have been, but it just kind of paints the main character and Harry as, instead of being people who have flaws, they just kind of seem like people who don't understand each other. Like, they don't have good chemistry. They don't really interact much in the movie. While you're watching the movie, it feels like it lasts forever. But then you forget almost everything that happened, basically, because it's so unmemorable. You can watch it yourself. I heard there was a whole controversy about the, bunch of people working on the team being racist, which makes me, it's like, I tried to, while I was watching the movie, I tried to, keep that as a whole different thing. Like, act like that was a whole separate part, because, yeah, that's terrible. They should either, A, be very apologetic, truthfully apologetic, and try to make up for their mistakes, or B, and if they don't do that, they should be prepared for the consequences that come from being racist, really. There's no really sugarcoating it. They're just racist. That's horrible. I tried to, not let it affect the movie, just because I was hoping to at least enjoy something, but nope. Movie sucks. Some of the people did sucky things. I don't know. People can change. I'm hoping they change, but who knows? And at this point, I'm just gonna say my opinion. The movie is like probably 3 out of 10. I lowered it even from the live stream, and the more and more I'll think about it, probably the lower that score will be. So, sorry, Amazing Spider-Man 2, or I guess I'm not sorry, but you are now free from the bounds of being my least favorite Spider-Man movie. And Spider-Man Lotus, even though you're a fan film, and I probably shouldn't hold you to that high of accountability, I am disappointed with you, and you are now the least favorite. Hooray!